All right, welcome back. Have not done one of these in a while. Been super crazy busy, but honestly, I was going to do one at the beginning of October for Mario Galaxy and a couple of other games or things that I was doing, but stuff just kept coming out and things kept getting busier and busier with work and life and even more games coming out. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a roundup at the end of the month. I'll just do that. So this is your October update. Let's go ahead and start off with Mario Galaxy, that dual pack that came out. Little expensive in the United States. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for the original Nintendo Switch is $70. So that's pretty pricey. That's the same price as Tears of the Kingdom, a brand new 3D open world Zelda game. I do think that's a little expensive. So digitally, I did just buy Mario Galaxy 2 because I still have Mario Galaxy 1 in the 3D, what is it called? The Mario 3D All-Stars deal limited time thing. I still have that. So I only really felt the need to buy the second game digitally, got it on the system, so now I got them all. It's pretty great. I'm enjoying it so far. I do have to admit, though, that because the yen is pretty low right now, I did buy a physical version of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. The collection is pretty solid. I know it's $70, but it's pretty nice. So I don't know. It's obviously it's never going to go on sale. It's never going to be cheaper than it is, at whatever the list price is. If you don't have 3D All-Stars, it's an obvious buy. If you do, you can always just buy Galaxy 2 digitally. But I'm going to be honest with you. So I had never played through Galaxy 2 back when it came out. I played all the way through Galaxy 1. I really loved it and enjoyed it. It was great. And then I was just kind of done. I was ready for the next Mario adventure, whatever the new adventure was going to be. And then they released Galaxy 2. I got to tell you that the story and the setting in Galaxy 1 to me is so much better. I like Rosalina. I like the Comet Observatory. I like that whole vibe. The fat Luna in Galaxy 2 is okay. The Starship Mario or whatever Spaceship Mario is fine, but I don't know. It's just more levels. If you like Mario Galaxy levels, this is just more levels. This isn't more story. This isn't more like, new characters and more new stuff. It's just more of what you're already enjoying, which is not a bad thing. My favorite Galaxy in the entire game, though, is the Throwback Galaxy, where they remade that Mario 64 level. That's fantastic. I really, really loved that. That was awesome. Hardcore enjoyed that one. I played that through quite a few times. Overall, Galaxy 2 is great. Galaxy 1 is still my favorite. But a good, solid release. I'm glad we've got both titles finally. I know we're all missing Galaxy 2 when they released that 3D All-Stars pack, but we finally got it. Another game I've been playing a lot, well, I'm not playing it anymore, but towards the beginning of the month was Silent Hill F. This was a very interesting game. So I've never played a Silent Hill game before. This was my first Silent Hill game. And I got to tell you, it grabbed my attention very quickly. Very quickly, I was really loving this game. I picked it up on a whim. As I said, I've never played a Silent Hill game before. I thought my first Silent Hill game was going to be the remake of Silent Hill 2, but I am living in a rural, kind of mountain town here in Japan. Silent Hill F takes place in a rural mountain town in Japan. So I kind of thought, this would be kind of a fun thing. It's spooky, it's Halloween season outside, it's kind of getting cold. I'm going to pop this in and play it. And at first, I fell in love with it. I was loving it so much. It was spooky, it was fun, the story was interesting. I was wondering where this was going. I like the aesthetic, I like the characters. It was really fun. But then it just kind of started to drag. I would say that for me, I'm not going to put any spoilers in here for the game if anybody hasn't played it, but there's a point in the game when at the beginning of the game, you leave your house and you go out in town and you have kind of this big adventure around the town, going to other people's houses, going to do other things all around the town, trying to figure out what's going on. And then at one point, you finally go back to your house for reasons that I won't tell you. And when you go back to your house, there's this really long puzzle in your house. And basically, it's kind of like an interdimensional puzzle when it's your house, but in 3 different time periods. So there's like this door that you can go through, and you can go to your house in the past, the present, and the future. And you have to do things in all time periods to like get these like tokens to get out of there or whatever. And it just, I was wandering around, and at first I was kind of like, okay, I'm getting it. And then at some point I was like, I'm not having fun. I am bored. Like, I am so bored. Can we hurry this up? I ended up just honestly Googling the answers to all the puzzles, and I just ran through it as quickly as possible just to get it over with, which that is not a good sign of a game. I am a huge Resident Evil series fan. I play all those titles that come out. I don't mind a little bit of puzzles in games. I don't think I'm too stupid. I might be. I don't know. You tell me. But I just wasn't having fun at some point. Up to that point, the puzzles were relatively simple. They were kind of, okay, I kind of get this, let's figure this out together. And it wasn't that bad. But the game just like hits a brick wall right here. And there were kind of 2 major problems that I had with this title. Number 1 was that puzzle. And then number 2 was I could kind of tell at around that point of the game, somebody in leadership was like, we got to make this longer. This has got to be longer. The game is like literally going to end here in like 2 minutes. And I need a longer campaign. And so they really started to just needlessly pad out the runtime. And it was like, dude, come on. Like, if it's naturally supposed to end here, just allow it to naturally end. Like, we don't gotta stretch this out to make it longer for no reason. So up to that point, also in the title, it's all melee combat. There's no guns, there's no projectiles, there's no nothing like that, which I'm fine with. Up to that point, it was kind of one-on-one combat. You could dodge, you could swing. There was a stamina meter. You had to be very precise and very calculated with how you were fighting. And I was loving it. I was like, ooh, there's like a strategy element to this. Like, I'm a big fan of Sekiro. I love that kind of style of, just don't flail around. You've got to think what you're going to do before you do it. And so I was enjoying that with Silent Hill F. Until they started throwing multiple enemies at you while you're trying to solve these puzzles. So while you're in that house, the farther you get in those puzzles, the more enemies come out. And those weapons degrade, right? They eventually will break, and they're not going to work anymore, and you're just going to be out of weapons, and when you're out of weapons, you're just dead. So I'm running around. I've got like 1 weapon left. There's like 3 enemies chasing me, and I can't solve the puzzle because there's enemies all around me, and I'm like, this is stupid. This is just dumb. Like, why? Also, the combat style of this game does not work well with, hey, let's throw more enemies at you. Like, you could probably fight 2 enemies, maybe 3. 3's pushing it. But when there's like 3 or more on the screen coming at you, it's like, forget it. This is just, you just have to run away. There's nothing you can do. You're just gonna die. I got out of the puzzle, I kept the story going, and I just kept running into those kinds of problems until there's kind of this big chase at the end of the game, and I'm not gonna tell you what it's about, but you're chasing somebody, and you're running out of your house, you're running down through the town, and they're just throwing more and more enemies at you. And in Silent Hill and in Resident Evil, it's kind of nice because you can sort of decide, okay, I'm going to fight, I'm going to kill this energy and clear this hallway, or I'm just going to run past them, right? It's not that big a deal. Like, they give you a choice. Not in Silent Hill F. There are enemies you have to kill because they've created like a blob wall, like a wall of just like flesh or a wall of whatever in the way where you have to kill them for it to disintegrate. I don't like that. That sucks. Like, why are you making me do this? Like, and then I have to kill this one enemy to knock the wall down. But then there's other enemies that are just jumping all over me, and it's like, dude, this is too chaotic. I turned the game off. I have not gone back to it since, and it's just such a shame. It's such a shame. This is a classic example of a AAA developer. You've got an interesting idea. You've got a fun game. I'm enjoying it. It's nice. It's stripped down. It's simple. And then somebody goes, but you got to make it longer. It's too short. Like, they're going to complain if it's too short. It's like, bro, Portal is like 2 hours long. And I've played over like 125 hours of that game. Like, I've played that game so many times, even though it's like only like a 2-hour game. It's fine if it's shorter. Also, that's the other thing that's weird. This game has multiple different kinds of endings, so it wants you to run through the game a few times, but it's needlessly padding runtime. It's like, which is it? Do you want this to be like an arcadey game that you go through a few different times and see different things every time you go through it? Or do you want this to be a one and done campaign when you have your 20-hour experience and then you're finished? I think for me, I'm at about the 9-hour mark right now. And like I said, I just don't think I'm going to go back to it. It was such a shame. I was enjoying it, but I can tell you this, I don't think I'd go through it again. I don't know. I might touch it again at some point, but right now I don't know. I feel kind of burned. I feel burned. I was doing things naturally. It was going really well, and then it just kind of a wet fart. So yeah. So a little disappointing, but you know, what can you do? Also, I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Legends ZA. That is another game that I'm really enjoying quite a bit. I can see the complaints. I can see the complaints of what's going on right now with Pokemon Legends ZA. People are saying that their Pokemon's cutting corners. It's getting cheap. It doesn't look great anymore. So one thing that I was listening to a podcast with Kit and Krista, and Kit and Krista were having a very interesting discussion about Pokemon Legends ZA, about how half the audience loves Pokemon games and the other half of the audience just complains about them all the time. And he said something very interesting that I didn't fully understand, I couldn't articulate it myself until I heard him say it, and it's absolutely true. Some people are just going to age out of Pokemon. It's okay. You're probably just going to age out of it to where at some point it's not going to work for you anymore. As we get older, our expectations for media change, right? Like when you're a kid, you want to watch kids stuff. You want to watch animated things. Like, you know, there are things that you want to enjoy. And then when you're a teenager, you probably want really gritty movies. You know, you want to watch Pulp Fiction and you want to watch, you know, more bloody stuff. And then as you get older, your tastes sort of refine again. And maybe you appreciate more dialogue in films. You know, like our tastes change over time. And so to age out of Pokemon and to not like it anymore is not a reflection badly on the developers. It's a reflection on who you are at this time, right? And I totally agree with that. Because when I look back at Pokemon, if I'm being honest with myself, and when he said this, I totally agreed. If I'm being honest with myself, I was in Pokemania in the 90s when it first blew up with Gen 1. And I can always remember asking myself, why is this Pokemon game not on the Nintendo 64? Why is this on this outdated Game Boy? What the hell? Like, the Game Boy should have been dead, right? It would have died a lot sooner had it not been for Pokemon. Pokemon really reignited the Game Boy. I was always asking myself, why do we not have great Pokemon games on the N64? Like, eventually they gave you, like, Pokemon Snap and Hey You Pikachu and crap like that, you know, but why is Pokemon Red and Blue not on the N64? Why is this not an open world RPG? So Pokemon has sort of always been this old style generation behind technology. You know, they are never going to lead from the front with graphics and technology. That's just not who the Pokemon company is, or that's not who Game Freak is, right? They've never done that. And sure, they could maybe do that with other titles or other IP, but Pokemon's never really done that. Now, I will say that I really, really did not like Pokemon Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet. I did enjoy Sun and Moon, and right now I'm enjoying Pokemon Legends ZA, and I did like Pokemon Legends Arceus. But when Kit and Krista were talking about that, I had to sort of admit to myself, you know what? I always kind of complained about Pokemon not being better looking and not being on better hardware, and that the Pokemon not being on the N64 is a great example. I remember thinking that very clearly as a child. So regardless of the graphics, regardless of the style, regardless of whatever cuts people think that they're trying to cheat on this, I am enjoying the game. I can understand it's a very simplistic gameplay loop. It's not reinventing the wheel here. It is technically a game for children, and I'm sure my nostalgia plays a lot into this title, but I'm having fun. It's simple. I don't have to think that much about it. I just pop on there, catch a few Pokemon, run around the city, have some fun. Where's this story going? I don't know. Whatever. It's kind of fun, Overall, I'm enjoying it. I could not probably recommend it to everybody, but for kids and, people like me that don't take things way too seriously, it's fine. It's a fine time. Another title that just came out is Plants vs. Zombie Replanted. This is a title I was very excited about. Super pumped for it. Definitely wanted to get it on the Nintendo Switch too. I picked it up. However, like a week before, there's all this controversy about it now. Did they use AI upscaling to fix some of the textures and the models and stuff like that? The music is all messed up for some reason, and the music is a huge part of that title. I did pick it up. I played a little bit of it. I see the problems. I hope this is just going to get fixed in a patch in about a week or two. I'm really hoping that PopCap or EA or somebody just puts in a nice update, gives us like a meaty patch, and just fixes all those problems. That would be fantastic. It's totally playable right now. I've been playing it. I'm probably about another hour or two into it. I was playing some of it last night. It's fine. It's really fun. It's Plants vs. Zombies. If they can iron out some of those minor problems, it'll be a perfect remaster. But as of the time of this recording, yeah, you probably could wait. So it's just another example of EA messing everything up. Don't buy EA, please. They did also just show off the second Kirby Air Riders Direct. And man, oh man, I keep getting more and more excited for this game. The more I see of it, the more excited I get about it, man. When they first announced it, I was like, oh, cute. They're doing another one. Great. Love it. My excitement was probably about a 5. I was 50-50, middle of the road. Then I saw the first Direct, and I got a little bit more excited. I was like, okay, now I'm kind of floating around a 7. This is kind of cool. I like this. This looks like sort of like a Smash Brothers style Kirby Air Riders title. Then they showed us this more recent Direct. And I got to tell you, right now, I am just as excited for Kirby Air Riders as I am as Metroid Prime 4. This looks like, that Super Smash Brothers Ultimate treatment that Sakurai can do. He's doing that for Kirby Air Riders. This is Kirby Air Riders Ultimate, basically. He is throwing everything into this game. And what makes me excited about this is that he said towards the end or at some point of the Direct, this is not a series. This is not going to be a game that every generation you're going to get a new Kirby Air Riders, right? This is it, basically. So he's pouring everything he can into this title to make it the best it can possibly be. And that makes me even more excited. There are, once again, so many features in this title, just like past Smash Brothers games, where it's there's just so much stuff to do. There's mini games. There's 3 or 4 different modes. There's a mode called Open Road now, which is some kind of story mode, which has got me very exciting. There's little mini games where you can what was that? Oh, the gummy thing. The gummy thing was really interesting. So when you fight people online, there's a ton of different kind of riders, cars that people will ride. And if you beat them online, you get little gummy versions of their car. So you can collect little cars from people that you've beaten online, which is really cool. And then not only that, with cars, you can make your own rider. So you can take pre-existing styles and then paint them their own colors or put decals and stuff on them or add little charms and accessories and stuff like that to them. This game is ultra customizable. Because that was the thing I was thinking about initially. I was like, well, if we're going to do this online and we're going to be racing, everyone's going to kind of look the same, right? At the time when I had first saw it, there was only 3 or 4 different car I'm just going to call them carts. 3 or 4 different cart styles. But now it's like they just announced a whole bunch more. There's probably like 12 to 16 different cart styles. The coolest one is the Transformer. There's one that's like a motorcycle, and then when you transform it into like a jet that like flies. So my mind was blown when I saw that. That a Transformer in Kirby Air Riders is amazing. That is probably going to be my go-to cart. Also, there's just like a ton of characters. I don't know. It is just a jam-packed event-style title from the director of Smash Bros. I'm all over this. This looks like it's going to be a Mario Kart killer. Mario Kart World was pretty bare bones on release. They have updated it since then. They fixed a lot of the map issues. Now you can see where all those P switches are. You can go back and collect Peach medallions. Like, they're slowly fixing it. But man, next month when Air Riders comes out, there's going to be no reason to play Mario Kart. This is going to be a Mario Kart killer. Like, I'm so excited for it. I really cannot wait to play this title. Also, I guess in the last little bit of news, at the end of October, they are finally giving us another GameCube title on NSO. So, for some reason, they skipped September. I was fully expecting to get like Mario Sunshine or one of the Pokemon titles or something in September, but they ended up giving us nothing since Chibi Robo back in August. But next Thursday, October 30th, they are giving us Luigi's Mansion. Very excited about that. And it actually kind of coincides with kind of something I've always wanted to do. I've always kind of wanted to stay up late and just beat Luigi's Mansion all in one night. Kind of like going back to like Silent Hill F. I've played Luigi's Mansion's, the first Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube. I've played through that quite a few times. It's a lot of fun. I can sit down and I can just gun through it in probably about, 3-4 hours or something like that. And I've always wanted to just stay up late and just play through it all in one night. Just kind of have a spooky night. You got the covers wrapped around you. You're playing a cozy Luigi's Mansion title. It's dark outside. I've always wanted to do that. And they're releasing it the day before Halloween. So I think on Halloween night, I think I might just play through the entire game at night. I may stay up late. I may kill myself the next day at work. But I might just do that. That may be something kind of fun to do. I don't know. I've always wanted to do it. Like I said, that's the bummer about Silent Hill F is that seems like it'd be a really fun game to like play all through all at one night. Stay up late, play it through in one night. It's all spooky, but it's tougher to do when the campaign is as long as it is. So yeah, there's an example of a short game that I've played through many, many times. Doesn't matter how short it is. It's still a classic. I love Luigi's Mansion. I'm so glad it's finally come to the system. I will say the only thing that I do hate about Luigi's Mansion is that for some reason, Nintendo, you release Luigi's Mansions always at the worst time. You're releasing this the day before Halloween, and Luigi's Mansion 3 was released on Halloween. I remember. It was kind of funny. My buddy Joe and I, we were driving across the country in his old camper that he used to have. And the night before, I was like, we should just park it in this Walmart parking lot. Because in my head, I was like, Luigi's Mansion's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to go pick that up. So we just slept in the camper. In the morning, I woke up, I looked over, and I just wandered into the Walmart like half asleep. And I was like, give me a copy of Luigi's Mansion 3. And of course, they were like, what are you talking about? And I just was like, it's coming out today. Just go in the back and get it. And they're like, oh, it is coming out there. Here you go. I was like, yes, just shut up. And then we continued on our drive back to Kentucky. You guys, Nintendo, you should be releasing these titles halfway through October. It's a nice lead up into Halloween. If I'm playing this on Halloween, it's too late. The holiday is like over, right? We're now dipping into Thanksgiving. Like I said, I'm not blaming. Japan just doesn't know. They're like, oh, it's Halloween. Released on Halloween, whatever. But it's like, no. We want to play it leading into the holiday. We want to play it all month long. It's a great title to play during October. But anyway, that's kind of, speaking of October, that's about the end of the October update. That's everything I've been doing this month in the world of gaming. There's been a lot going on. September was really slow. October's been very busy. And November, December both have two big hitters with Kirby Air Riders next month and Metroid Prime 4 in December. Very exciting. I cannot wait for both of those titles. I can't decide which one I'm more excited for, to be honest with you. Air Riders is a Switch 2 exclusive, unfortunately. But you know what? That may be enough to push some people into buying the console. Who knows? Because, wow, it looks incredible. But anyway, that'll about do it for me for today. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. And as always, take care of each other out there.